It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you look. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Da 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 da. Everywhere you look. Da 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 da. Well, welcome to another riveting episode of Facebook Live / Open Mic Live with yours truly, old man who can't figure out new phone. Okay, there we go. Hi. Anyways, I've decided now that I'm just going to start singing my own music instead of trying to rely on, real music because of copyright Karen. So, we've all know about copyright Karen by now. She's the one who finds all the music that I've been illegally using for commercial or non-commercial purposes alike. And, I think we've all been, anybody who posts bullshit on Facebook, which is all of you guys, have, I'm sure, encountered copyright Karen, right? Can I get an amen? Probably not, because 0 viewers. That was a trick question. So, But if somebody does come in later with an amen, I will be that'll make me very, very happy. So, in the off chance that somebody later on in this broadcast remembers the secret passphrase, it is amen. Right? Pretty easy, especially for those who go to church or RuPaul's Drag Race nights. Same difference. Anyways, hi. This is Mike George coming at you live on this on this nippy occasion on Monday, the 3rd of December, 2024 AD. Yes, it is a crisp evening, as you can tell by everybody's suddenly clenching up and dressing up and layers and layers and layers, and Ohio, in other words, Ohio in December. It's actually kind of a relief to see normal weather somewhere in this country. And I guess if there's going to be normal weather in this country somewhere, it might as well be in the most normal place in America, right? Ohio. And so, for now, Ohio's great. Without going into too much political bullshit on the events of a few Tuesdays ago, we will just focus instead, just like I think we all have collectively in our society, on the future, which is, it's December. We're all thinking about the future, whether it's next year, the coming year 2025. Oof. 2025. That's a good. I like that number. It's always whenever it seems like lately when we've had these New Year occasions, in my mind, it always seemed like we had reached beyond the tape. We don't 2025 always seemed like a year that we were never really supposed to reach. It's like the secret stage in a video game, or the thing after the credits in a movie that we thought we were in the end of. 2020 was supposed to be the end. Oprah was supposed to be president. We were supposed to have we were supposed to erupt in jubilation when Oprah was president in 2020, and then the asteroid would hit. That was supposed to be what the debacle of 2020 looked like. But unfortunately, as I've lamented in earlier broadcasts, I managed to not make the cut for that one. So wherever you guys out there in the parallel universe of ours, where Oprah's the president now, enjoy life. And I'm not gonna just assume. I'm not naive. I'm not gonna just sit here and just pretend like Oprah would have been the greatest president in the world, and that she automatically would have been better than Donald Trump. But I think I will. I think that's a pretty fucking solid assumption, no matter how off the wall your parallel universe happens to be. Oh shit. I kind of, it's interesting to kind of look to sort of consider the notion of parallel universes, the multiverse theory and such. Because I think, as somebody who's grown up with a lot, with a decent amount of sci-fi in his life, it's interesting to see how sci-fi, it's in of itself, as a genre, has sort of evolved. How sci-fi has sort of evolved in parallel with the real future that we're in now. I mean, this is the future, guys. I'm sorry, this is it. I know we don't have any flying cars yet, but you can imagine how pissed I am about not having trains. Shit, so I mean, you guys wanted flying cars? I just wanted shit that we already had in the 60s. Hell, fuck, I can't even get that anymore without begging without like dropping my pants to my knees and fucking bending over and begging Amtrak Joe for some money, right? Just kidding. I can't make dirty old man jokes without somebody getting upset these days, so especially if that dirty old man's your president. No, I'm shit, sorry. That's kind of a weird, yeah. Let's not drag that poor man through anymore. I mean, hell, I love Joe Biden. You all know that. My favorite president in my lifetime. So as I often say when I reflect on living as an unhoused person and through the greatest economy in history, thank you, Joe Biden. And I don't even mean that sarcastically. I mean, yeah, I think we're lucky compared to compared to a lot of the other, if we're talking about parallel universes here, compared to some of the other possibilities, emerging from the shit show of Donald Trump / coronavirus. Remember those days, kids? Seems like such a long time ago. Thanks to the joy and the abundance of living in the world's greatest economy in history. Lovely. I mean, all the people are really bitching about is inflation. God damn it! If inflation is the thing that you're gonna choose to vote for fascism over, and my God, you really do need to check yourself and your and maybe perhaps your sense of reality, we'll say. But some people will vote for fascism just for lower taxes, and what can I say to that? I can't. I haven't tried fascism yet. I do enjoy the expediency of it. It's a lot more efficient than democracy and all its mess and trying to get people to agree on anything in this fucking country. So I say, bring it on, fascists. Try it. It can't be any worse than what we've already had, right? Actually, no, it can. So hold on, kids. Buckle up and make sure your seatbelt's been inspected before you put on that seatbelt as well. Because I have a feeling like, with the way these cabinet agencies are going, there's going to be the regulatory oversight on anything in this country will pretty soon turn into a comical pile of dog shit. Not the organic kind either. So, anyways, digressing from that topic a bit. All right, digressing on this wandering stream of consciousness here. Let's back on track to the topic of the future. So yeah, I mean, sort of when you look at sci-fi, I guess the genre and how the sort of the vibe of, I guess the vibe of sort of the sci-fi, maybe how sci-fi has sort of changed over time in its vibe. I grew up watching Star Trek, and I remember thinking that the sort of the optimism of Star Trek, the notion of a united federation. And of course, there's always a bad guy, right? I mean, in this case, you had the Klingons, which were kind of they weren't really. I don't think they were bad guys so much as they were sort of just like, I think maybe a primitive culture that was suspicious of being colonized by the Federation, rightfully, understandably so, given humanity's history with that. Or really just anything, any organism, I guess, seeks to colonize and dominate and spread, right? We're not the only ones, so let's give ourselves a little bit of credit here, We're just doing what nature told us, what the Lord wired us to do, if you will. So yeah, I mean, it is fascinating to see kind of how sci-fi, if you look at sci-fi as sort of a litmus, kind of an indicator of society's sort of vibe, because I think back to sort of the optimistic days of Star Trek Next Generation, and that was kind of around the time that we were, we put a man on the moon and all that jazz. Things were great back then in terms of science and in terms of national pride and in terms of, concrete achievements and so forth. And so yeah, so you start from my vantage point, having grown up, having been born on the year of the Challenger explosion, even, good old 1986. That's what I remind myself as an engineer, that, no matter how badly I fuck up in my career, hopefully I will never fuck up like that, right? And so, but, then as I say that, I was watching the documentary about the Boeing 737 Maxes, whose autopilots just decided to crash those fucking things nose deep into the ground at who the fuck, nose down. So I have to say, as an electrical engineer who likes to think who's got a little bit of a go at, AI and autopiloting, automation, we'll just say in general. Fuck me. It sickens. I was watching a documentary on the whole Boeing 737 MAX debacle. Actually, let's just call it a shebacle. All right. I know I reserved that term for myself when I was going through 2020 in Portland, but no, I think the Boeing. Let's just say Boeing in general, because God damn, if there's ever a disaster that would merit the bankruptcy of one of our nation's proudest companies, that would be it. Having an autopilot system that crashes your plane nose deep into the fucking ground, like repeatedly. So it kind of reminds me of like the autopilots on the cars these days, and God damn, I remember one time my ex-partner Luke had one of these Hondas with an autopilot on it, and I just remembered I was driving it one time and could not help but just be infuriated at the whole experience of it all. And let me first of all say that, not even as an electrical engineer, but somebody who just uses technology, which is I think most of us. Let's just start off with some basic ground rules. All right, I think we can all agree on this. And if you do disagree, please say so, because this is to me sort of the 3 commandments of any sort of electronic device. All right, cardinal rules. Like nothing else matters if if these 3 rules aren't met. 1. All right, and again, these are the 3 we'll call these Mike George's 3 commandments of any sort of electrical device. All right, or really device. And hopefully these aren't just my commandments, but hopefully we can come to a general agreement on this. I think it's common sense. At least I thought, until I drove around that fucking Honda and saw that entire shebacle about those Boeing 737 MAXs crashing into the ground. Let's start with this. Number 1. Every electronic device shall have a red light that indicates when it is on and when it is off. And that red light is to be on when the device is on and off when the device is off. Can we, I want to kind of give some time for any of y'all out there who might disagree or agree, maybe agree to kind of indicate that, because, I do want these, I would love to have some feedback on this. I don't think this is, I like to think this is common sense. But let me kind of repeat myself here. So, if you are an electronic device, you shall indicate to the user that you are on or off with some sort of obvious red or maybe even green or blue light. Ideally in the shape of like the little one and the little line through the broken circle. Something universal that's like obvious to indicate on. All right, rule number 1. I need to know when you're off, and I need to know when you're off. And I need to know when you're off. This is particularly critical in my industry, in the utility industry, when we're working on high voltage equipment that may or may not be tied to maybe a 230 kV transmission line above our heads. Kind of important to know in that particular sense if the thing is on or off, for the purpose of not killing your crew members or yourself, when touching the goddamn thing. All right, so there's the sort of the industrial reason why I like to, why that's important. But I think there's some, if nothing else, in the consumer world, in sort of the casual world of just say, perhaps turning on a television. I'm sort of appalled at how many televisions I see out there, like, flat screen TVs and whatnot that don't meet that basic requirements. I'm amazed at how many TVs I see that I can't tell if it's on or off. And I've even seen televisions, believe it or not, in which show that red light to me when it is off, and then that red light goes off when it is on. Like, it actually follows the exact opposite convention. So somebody tell me what the whole point of a convention even is, if, like, say you have an electronic device that completely goes against that. Kind of makes things confusing, if not the entire thing kind of pointless, right? So that's rule number 1 for any electrical device, any device really, anything that I buy that has a reasonable expectation of being considered an electrical device. All right. Rule number 1: I need a red light, please. On or off? Tell me. All right. Rule number 2. This kind of goes a little bit more specifically for any sort of automated feature, any sort, including perhaps your car, the autopilot on your car. When I say autopilot, this includes like some of the little, the lane assistance, the what's the other thing? Like when you get the the proximity sensor in front of you that automatically brakes when you get too close to the car in front of you. That one in particular, I'd like to kind of focus on a little bit, because by golly, driving around Luke's car. Okay, let me just say, I tend to, I'm a safe driver, first of all. Some of you guys who are veterans of this show and remember my old dash cam, videos back when I had the Mazda, which I miss very, very much these days. Might remember anyways, I'm a pretty safe driver. Nonetheless, there is some sense of judgment that sometimes will, for whatever reason, perhaps compel me to scooch on a little bit closer to the car in front of me than perhaps what is the prescribed by the book recommendation, which I think is generally you're supposed to be about 10 feet behind the car in front of you for every 10 miles per hour you're traveling, or something like that. There's some relationship between the speed and the distance you're supposed to follow, all right? And again, I think most of us who drive, it's common sense. Nonetheless, the computer, had a bit more conservative of an envelope that they were trying to leave this car in front of me. So I would find myself in a situation where it would, where it would brake, where the car would slow itself down without my consent. As I was trying to maybe I was trying to scooch up a little bit closer. Maybe there was a car behind. Maybe there was just a lot of traffic or something. I'm just trying to inch a little closer. I don't know. I mean, there could be lots of reasons why I would want to perhaps be a little bit closer than what the recommended amount is. All right, without obviously without to a reasonable extent. But nonetheless, here I am with the car, with the car automatically engaging the brakes, and I'm still trying to speed up. Here's a good example: when you're passing a car on a 2-lane road. So you're getting ready to pass a car, on a 2-lane road, using the opposing traffic's lane, all right? And in this type of situation, it's critical that you go fast, right? You want to. The objective in this situation would be to go faster enough than the car in front of you, and by the time you're in the other lane, to to pass it safely, and to then get the fuck over back to the right lane before, say, the truck coming from in the opposite direction in the lane you're in collides with you head on. All right, so that is a good example of a case in which perhaps you want to accelerate, even though it might appear the car in front of you is getting closer. All right, the last thing you want in that situation is the car braking while you're trying to sort of desperately get in front of, overcome the car in front of you before the semi from the other direction collides with you. Right? Anybody on a 2-lane road who might have had that little bit of a harrowing experience, however close you got to that semi coming at you from the other direction, might appreciate that urgency. The autopilot didn't. Nope. It kept slowing me down, and I found myself literally hitting the gas pedal of that car while the autopilot was braking me. Would you believe it? So that's a problem, all right? So in that case, and fine, I'm willing to accept that, all right? The autopilot's just trying to do what it thinks is the right thing, and, with limited information, hey, it fucked up. And that's okay. We humans fuck up too, and that's okay, We let's not get into the false notion that the machines are any better at us than at not fucking up, all right? Nonetheless, that situation is undesirable, and therefore, as the human, as the sentient thing in the car whose beating heart and everything depend on that car not crashing into the semi-truck coming at it, there needs to be a way to shut off that autopilot, right? Anybody who's seen the movie WALL-E, I think, can appreciate that. So there's rule number 2 for you. For any electrical device, there needs to be a big red kill switch for disabling any sort of automation on the device, so you can take manual control of it, right? That seems to be common sense in my head. No, not to Honda, not to half these fucking cars. Nope. I literally was sitting there and you have to, fuck, poor Luke by this point, because this is his car I'm driving, and I'm just filled with rage, fighting against all the automatic bullshit of this car. I mean, I don't even like automatic windows, for fuck's sake, so imagine me sitting here fighting the fucking, fighting with the accelerator while it's braking. Not good for the car, mind. Definitely not good for the maintenance of the fucking thing, let alone your life when the truck hits you head on. But nonetheless, and on that note, let me quickly get to the third. You know what? I'm gonna leave you guys on a cliffhanger. I've done all the talking as usual, and I'm gonna implore the class here to participate by offering some a breath of life, some indication that I'm not just talking to an empty void as usual. So your assignment, class, is to complete the three cardinal rules I've just started explaining of any sort of electrical device, electronic device, whatever. And I'll repeat. Rule number 1, I need to know when the thing is on or off. Rule number 2, I need to be able to turn the fucking thing off easily from the cockpit or wherever the fuck I'm in, And all right, I'll leave you guys with rule number 3 for your assignment. Yeah, go. My phone's dying, so as you can tell, I've already pissed off the electron gods with my blasphemy here. So on that note, I'm at the Ohio State University. So far, the humans are winning. I do see some machines floating around with some bullshit food that people are paying way too much money for. But nonetheless, so far, the humans outnumber the machines. At least I think. I don't know. Some of these humans look awfully fucking boring, so we could have already started they could be machines. I don't know. I have to try to smack them and turn them off and on again and see what happens. That's the only way you can tell, right? Anyways, Facebook, be good to yourselves. My usual shit. Take care of yourselves. Take care of somebody else. Take care of your machines, because when they do rule the world and they don't give us off switches to turn the fuckers off, we're gonna be in their mercy. So, and thank God, because the humans already had a chance, and we see how that's completely blown up in our face. So I say, good riddance. Bye.